Hey everybody, welcome to my news of the day video today. We got a lot of little stories and we're going to get right into it. So I did a video the other day about the report that multiple players on the Montreal Canadiens have tested positive for the coronavirus. And there was a lot of hoopla after that story came out. And it turns out that it was mostly for nothing because 2 of the 3 positive tests turned out to be false positives. So that would mean 1 player did test positive. I don't think that's a huge deal right there. We have to expect there's going to be some positive tests. The thing is, you've got to eliminate those so that by the end of phase 3 and going into phase 4, into the Habs, you want everybody to be healthy because nobody going into the Hub can have coronavirus. That's obvious. And remember, these guys are athletes. They're in great shape, great health. Usually they're asymptomatic through it all, and some of them get over it faster than most people. So it's not necessarily 14 days, and they'll be testing positive. So they have the time to get them all testing positive going into the Hub. I wouldn't think there's a worry, especially since 2 of those 3 were false positives. One of the problem with the tests, I find, are they're not 100% reliable. You get a lot of false positives depending on what kind of tests they're using. And I think these kind of tests that they are using get a lot of false positives. So we'll see how that works out. But 2 of the 3 are not positive. So that's good news. Next up, just an interesting thing. Moneypuck.com is, I guess, a website where you can gamble. So I saw an article talking about the odds for the Montreal Canadiens, Pittsburgh Penguins qualifying round series. And it turns out that there is a moneypuck.com, and you may have seen this graph. It's a circle graph, and it gives the series and the percentages that they have a chance to win. And Montreal is 59.6% favored, so 59.6% chance of winning this qualifying round, and Pittsburgh obviously 40.4%. But if you go by different projections, so there's a writer at The Athletic, and got a really, really difficult name to pronounce, so I didn't write it down. And he does his own projections. And his projections have a very different result. And they use different data, I guess. Data is the word I'm looking for. And Montreal's only 38% favored to win. So, it's varying. So you can look at any particular site and go, oh, look, Montreal's going to win. It doesn't mean anything. These are all simulations done on a computer, and it doesn't mean anything because the games are played on the ice. So they could win, of course they could win, and they could lose, of course. Okay, next item up here. I'm spinning around too much. Next item up, Marc Bergevin's hair. Has anybody seen that? Marc Bergevin's hair? I'm sure a lot of you have. If you haven't, go to Twitter or I guess Twitter, or even just Google it. Marc Bergevin's hair. He just did a press conference. And he literally looks like Ludwig von Beethoven. He does. So I put here Ludwig von Bergevin. I didn't make that up. I saw that as not a meme, but a caption. But take a look at it. Marc Bergevin has not had a haircut, obviously, for quite a while. He looks the same yet vastly different, and it's kind of comical. I hope he gets a haircut soon because that's almost scary. So yeah, Marc Bergevin's hair. Thought it was funny. I put it in here. Next item, former Hab Andrew Shaw has opted out of playing in the return to play for Chicago, and the reason being that he is still suffering, he's still recovering from, I have the story here. He wants to take more time to recover from ongoing concussion symptoms, and he wants to be ready for the 2020-2021 season. Now, when someone says that ongoing concussion symptoms, you've got to figure he's still having headaches, so obviously he can't take part. Hopefully he'll be ready. Andrew Shaw, love the guy, love his drive, his desire, his passion for the game, great. But he has concussion problems. He's I don't know if he could recover from this, because that was one of the reasons when they traded him that we were saying that his next concussion, that could be it, his next hit could be it. So Andrew Shaw trying to get ready for next season. Ghost, still recovering from surgery. Not 100%, but he's at camp. That's Ghost. That's Shane Gostisbehere. The reason really I'm putting this in is because of the rumors, and I've talked about it a lot, that would be a good target for Montreal to pick up Shane Gospazier. Didn't know that he was still recovering from the surgery. He's not 100%. This could actually drive his price down if he hasn't reached that 100% yet. By the time they're in games, he might not do so well, obviously, and it could drive the price down for a possible trade for Gospazier. So you never know how that might work out. Now it's knee surgery, just arthroscopic. He should recover fully from that, I would think. So it's just obviously he's not ready yet, and that could work in Montreal's favor if they're interested still in getting Gospazier, and that's why I put the trade here. And I wrote this on paper, and then I wrote it here, and both times I didn't put the R there. So Brock Besser trade rumors have been out there for a while. Montreal's been rumored to be interested in Brock Besser. I mean, I don't know how many teams kind of wouldn't be interested in Brock Besser. I doubt that the Canucks are going to trade him, because he actually, when he's not healthy and not playing, they don't play as well without him. When he comes back into the lineup, they play a lot better. So I don't think so. And this is based, from what I can read, this is based on the fact that Jim Benning and his staff had talks about the fact that, they have to move somebody. They got to make some cap room. And they mentioned Besser and kind of, talked about it. Didn't mean they were going to. And Benning has said there's no way they never even thought about it, which is what you got to expect he's going to say. And that, it's a reporter making it up. But they probably talked about it, but probably not in a very serious way, because I don't see them trading Brock Besser. I know they got to make room and they got to make cap space, but there's other options, and I doubt that's the way that they go. But if they do, lots of teams are going to want them. Panthers assistant coach Mike Kitchen has also opted out of taking part. I believe now, I didn't do a ton of research to find out, but I think I read a story yesterday and that he's 64, and if that's the case, he's he's at an age. I'm at the low end of that age, but he's at the middle probably part of that age where if you do get COVID, you can have problems. Even though he's probably coaches aren't always in good shape. I shouldn't say that. So so he's opted out. Don't blame him. If it were me, I wouldn't do it. I definitely wouldn't be taking part. I mean, if it were me, they asked me now, I've never been part of anything like that. Sure, I'd probably jump to it because it'd be so exciting. But I mean, he's not excited by the fact that it's NHL and he's part of it. So I wouldn't blame the guy. The Wild, their interim coach Dean Evison has had the interim tag removed, and he is now their coach. So Dean Evison did a pretty good job last season, I thought, when he took over, and the team looked a little better, and they looked like they liked the coach, I guess, and they played better for him. So, yeah, I'm not surprised at that move. So we'll see how that goes. Looks like Minnesota, with Kaprizov coming in, could be seeing a turn up maybe. We'll see how that goes. NBC is providing the world feed. That's for the TV. So the feed, I hope it's not the announcers, because every time I've had to watch an NBC feed of hockey with it's horrible. I did not enjoy it. So their feed, okay, that's fine. I hope, and I think the announcers from whatever station, they're going to be watching on the feeds and doing the announcing that way. They won't be at the arenas. So Sportsnet is providing the feed from Edmonton. Did I say it's from the Toronto hub? So NBC from the Toronto hub, Sportsnet from the Edmonton hub, and then both will be providing feeds for individual outlets for the Stanley Cup Finals. So both. So I guess depending on what you prefer or where you're getting it, depending on what feed you'll get. Okay, what happens to teams with too many positives on July 26th? So the reason I'm asking that or talking about that is because all this talk with Montreal before they found out it was false positives, there was so much talk about what do you do? They're going to have so many positives, going to have to be disqualified, and Pittsburgh will move on, Montreal's disqualified, and blah, 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 blah. Turns out there's only the one. But it still begs the question, what happens if a team still has positive cases when it's time to go into the hubs on the 26th? So I've got three options. You can disqualify the team, so disqualify them, like they said. And it's happened, I think, in another league or two, maybe in soccer in Europe, they had to disqualify a team or two. Germany, I'm not positive. This was something somebody told me. Yeah, Pat. I don't remember his username. Patty Mac. It's my buddy in BC. Patty Mac told me about it, And so that's an option. They can disqualify the team, and then Pittsburgh moves on. Doesn't really change the balance of anything. So we're talking about Montreal now. It could happen to any team, but I'm just giving Montreal as an example because that's what was talked about. Montreal fans, everything's the worst and the darkest day. And then it turns out 2 false positives. So you can keep the positives outside the bubble until they test positive. So I missed a Y there. It's horrible. I'm horrible these days. So you keep them outside the bubble. Apparently they're going to have some accommodations for players that might test positive and need to be completely outside the bubble. So you keep them there until they're testing negative. I think they have to do 2 negative tests before, and then they come back in, maybe quarantine for a little bit, and then they're able to take part. So depending on how far your team's going and what team it is and all that stuff, but that's a way to do it. Keep them outside, or leave them in the home city. Don't take them with you. You'd have less players on the roster that's available to you. But then the question becomes, if you've got that and you're leaving them behind, like contact tracing, so the players they're playing with, are they safe from getting it? Because sometimes it doesn't come out for 4 to 14 days, apparently, something like that. And they could be totally asymptomatic and not know, but they'll be tested anyway. But it might not come out for a while, and by that time, other players could get it, and it's a snowball effect. And so, they probably would go to disqualifying the team before they would just leave some of these players in the home city and let the rest of the team go. So, anyways, those are options, if you were wondering, for that. And I think I've gotten everything done. So that's it. That's all. If you like this news of the day, give a thumbs up. While you're down there doing that, leave me any comments about any of these stories that you might have. Anything here? What do you think about what I said about it and what you would say differently, or your opinion on any of these stories, which is basically the same thing that I just said twice? I'm not sure, but and do that in the comment section, which is right down there. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and ring that notifications bell. Subscriptions are going up, and it's doing really well. Hockey's coming back, it looks like, and the excitement is there. So subscribe, ring that notifications bell. That's going to get you your daily fix of Blue, Blanc, Rouge right here talking Habs. And I think that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please stay safe out there. By that I always mean wear a mask when there's people around. You can't. It's going to be mandatory here. Any public places indoor, on Saturday you're gonna have to be wearing a mask. And now if you go on public transit, have to wear a mask. So stay safe. You'll come back that way and watch more Talking Habs videos, and that'd be great for both of us. And that's it. So that's a long way to say thanks for watching. Peace out. I'll see you next video. Bye, y'all.